you were and how you feel when the 9/11 attack happened.
Okay, so when September 11 happened, I was a freshman in college and I was just entering my math class very early, well, around 8:30 in the morning, and then I noticed that everybody was looking at the TV and my professor was just like with his head down saying, "This is really bad. This is really bad." And then I started watching the TV and then I noticed that it was some kind of explosion in New York. And then after that, I didn't know much because everything was very confusing. And then the last thing I heard that day was that the school was evacuated, which everybody was very happy because that meant that we had the day off. And I just left home. And then when I got home, I found out the whole truth, which was really, really sad.
Thank you. We just want to know what you were doing and where you were and how you feel about the 9/11 attack.
In 9/11, I was in middle school, actually. I was in 6th grade, and I was in my social studies class, and I remember a teacher coming in and telling my teacher to turn on the TV, and we turned on the TV, and we were watching everything happen in real time. So it was very scary, and a lot of students actually ended up going home. The rest of the day was just a cluster, and everyone was pretty scared. I am a very patriotic person, so I respect our country, and I hope that everyone else does, and I think that it's something we all need to be aware of and respect the people and honor the people that gave their lives to protect us.
Thank you.
You're very
We
welcome.
want to know what you were doing, where you were, and how you feel about the 9/11 attack.
Well, and that day many years ago, actually I was at a friend's house that morning, and and someone sent me a message, and I was like, I heard something, and I turned on the TV, and I saw on the news that some buildings were on fire, and then I saw that the airplanes had crashed into the building, and at first I thought I didn't believe it was real. I thought it was some kind of prank or something, and then I realized it was real, and honestly I was just in shock. I felt like very sad and very shocked, and the whole day I was just with friends and family, and we were just watching the news the whole day, and man, I really felt awful, and but it's something that I'll never forget that day. Like, it marked my life, and definitely I felt overwhelmed, sad, and I hope that would never happen again. You know?
Thank you to know what you were doing, how you feel when the 9/11 attack happened.
Okay, so when the 9/11 attack happened, I was a new student in middle school. I was in 7th grade, and I had just came from Mexico, so I wasn't aware of what's going on. So I just remembered that we were having class. It was normal class, and all of a sudden, teachers were leaving the classrooms, and they were turning on the TV and putting the news, and so everything stopped and everybody was just watching the news, and I wasn't still aware of what was going on. I mean, I had no English in me, and I still don't have all that English in me, but I knew that something was wrong. All the students that normally behave bad, and it was loud, they were loud and misbehaving, they were quiet. So the whole school was quiet. Everything, all the activities were canceled. So we were just watching the news. So basically, I wasn't aware. I knew that something had happened, that it was really bad, but I wasn't really aware of how big it was. So yes, that's how I remember that.
Thank you. Just want to ask you what you were doing, how you feel when 9/11 attack happened.
Okay. It happened early in the morning. I was getting ready for work, and it was on the news. First, they showed one plane that had gone into the building, and they didn't know if it was an accident or terrorists. And then while it was being live on TV, they all of a sudden showed the second plane flying into the building, and then we knew that it was a terroristic attack. It was a really difficult time. It was the first time that there had been an attack like that in the United States. You hear about it happening all over the world, but that was the first one like that here in the United States. So it was pretty scary that bombings were happening here, or explosions like that. And it was just a very uneasy time.
Thank you, Shar.
You're welcome.
We want to know what you are doing and how you feel when the 9/11 attack happened.
9/11. Well, I was here in this office, and we used to have, school was far smaller. We used to have a small TV set on the front there, and you never met her, but my partner at the time is Lisa Newton. She got a call from her parents from Washington. They live in Washington, and she was informed that something was going on. So I remember turning on the TV here at the front. We were watching when the first tower was burning, and then we saw the plane hitting the second one. We were watching that at the same time that Miss Lisa, since her parents were from Washington, she was very concerned that they were also talking about the other plane that fell nearby. And then news spread about the attack in the Pentagon as well, so it was very stressful. How I felt, it's hard because I understand that this country is in permanent war, and it was at war at the moment, and I think that fact escapes to all of us who keep on living our lives in a certain way without really paying attention to those realities. It was sad because I think that, you know, other than the loss of life, of course, those towers represented something, represented the hard work, and it's very easy to destroy, and it's very hard to construct. So I don't know, I guess that, like many other people, I felt very, very sad on a human level.
Thank you.
That's it?
Mr. Jays, we want to ask you what you were doing, how you feel about 9/11.
Okay, on September 11th, 2001, I was working at Sears and Roebuck. I was a salesman, and I worked in the appliances department. And the day the attacks happened in New York, I was working. And it was a very scary moment because once it happened, the store evacuated. People were sent home, customers, salespeople, and so forth. It was a very tragic and terrible thing that happened in our country, and it was an act of cowardice against the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Jays.
You're welcome.